your Bibles to Matthew chapter 6. We're through with those first 18 verses. We'll talk to you for the next few minutes about a problem I have that I don't think I'm by myself. Don't be a worrywart. I really don't think Daddy, I'm pretty candid about Daddy. He knew how I was when we were both tag team preaching. Daddy had more faith. He may not have thought much of fasting, but he had more faith than just about anybody I ever knew. The TV ministry, we needed over $2,000 a week to pay for Christ for the Crisis. Never worried him, never bothered him. $100,000 a year, you say that's peanuts. Yeah, it's a lot of peanuts. And Daddy never worried about it. Now my mama, she did enough worrying for both of them. And there's a fallacy out there that women worry and men don't. No, it's up to the man and the woman. I worry a lot more than Becky does. Becky reminds me of my daddy, and buddy, I am my mama made over. I think worry is a real problem some of us have. I heard about a guy, he had a problem worrying, and his friend said, why don't you just hire somebody to do your worrying for you? He said, well, that's a pretty good idea. I'll just hire me somebody, and I'll let him do my worrying. In fact, I'm going to do it. And he advertised $1,000 a week to anybody that will agree to do my worrying. Well, the same friend came back to him and said, where are you going to get $1,000 a week? And he said, that's the first thing I'm going to let him worry about. Worry is sin. The Bible says anything that's not of faith is sin. Okay? Materialism is not the answer for worry. Look at chapter 6, verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. I'm just saying, a lot of people have this wrong idea that if they can get enough money or land or real estate, that if they can get enough stuff, they won't have to worry anymore. Here's the reality of it. The more stuff you got, the more you worry about it. So materialism is not the answer to worry. Now, on materialism, let me go ahead and do a disclaimer. There is nothing wrong with a savings account. There's not. There is nothing wrong with planning for retirement. I owe Alcorn Baptist a huge debt. I had no retirement until I came here. I was in full-time evangelism. I didn't think I could afford it. Nobody sat me down and explained to me what the Baptist building would do for me. If I'd contribute like $100, they'd match it with $37. That would have been a big deal for me. I didn't know about it. I came to Alcorn Baptist, and thanks to y'all and the Baptist building, they've been good to me. I'm doing what I do because I want to do it. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying thank y'all, Alcorn Baptist, because thanks to you, I actually got involved with Guidestone. I wouldn't be wealthy if I quit work tomorrow and retired. I wouldn't. But I actually think Becky and I could pay the bills. And I owe that gratitude to y'all and to Alcorn Baptist. There's nothing wrong with the retirement plan. There's nothing wrong with being thrifty. There's nothing wrong with being saving. There's nothing wrong with any of that. On the other hand, if your attitude is get all you can all you get, and sit on the can, that ain't gonna make you happy either. And I want you to look at a vice versa. You say, what is that? You know, vice versa is where you turn it around. Vice versa, if you're talking about something, it's true up and down, or vice versa. It's true down and up. Y'all know it's true beginning to end, and vice versa. Well, it's true end to the beginning. Vice versa. Look at chapter 6, verse 21. It is what I call a vice versa. It's true coming and going. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. But guess what? Where your heart is, there will your treasure be also. It's true coming and it's true going. I love buying stuff, and I'm about as cheap as it gets, and I don't need an amen from Floyd or Chuck. I'm frugal. You don't stay in full-time evangelism 12 years without being frugal. You don't pay for a radio TV ministry without being frugal. There's nothing wrong with being thrifty. There's nothing wrong with being frugal. But I want to tell you something. Materialism is not the answer to feeling more secure. Materialism is not the answer to worry. So what I want to do now, and you can read these verses over a cup of coffee, I want to share with y'all something I go through on a regular basis. This is more than a sugar stick. This is more than a favorite sermon. I actually use this on a regular basis. Whether it's one of my sons needing a job, or whether a daughter-in-law needing a job, or whether it's a problem in finance, or whether it's a medical issue, or whatever. It's my mom-in-law going blind in Houston, Texas. My daddy-in-law has the early stages of Alzheimer's. I'm a worrier. So I walk through this pretty often. We're going to look at the troubles that worry us. The troubles that worry us. Then we're going to look, flip it. We're going to look at the worry that troubles us. You with me? Now let's be on the test Wednesday night, okay? We're going to look at the troubles that worry us, and we're going to look at the worry that troubles us. And this is something I go through, try to utilize it. Number one, many of the troubles that worry us never become reality. Can we agree on that? Many of the things we worry about never become reality. The house never burns down. Now, can the house burn down? Right now it can. While you're right here, and if Floyd had to replace the double breaker at my house, mine might be the one burning right now. Floyd said it was fizzing, sizzling. I'm hard of hearing. I can't hear that. Are you hearing me? But how many people, out of 1,000, how many of their house burns down? Some, but not a large number. There'll be a lot of people get cancer. Come on now. Whether it be prostate, whether it be breast cancer, whether it be colon cancer. Yeah, too many are going to get cancer. Will everybody that's worried about cancer get cancer? No. The lump under your armpit is just because you've got a tooth infected and it's causing problems. And are y'all old enough to know what we used to call that lymph node that swells up? And it ain't cancer. Y'all remember what we used to call that? Come on, help my feelings. A kernel. Did y'all never call it a kernel? Or because of an infection or something? Okay, I'll move on. Okay. Now you did my G and my hog, you let me down on kernel. Okay. I'm telling you, many of the things that we worry about, they never become reality. Would you agree? It might be okay to worry about something that's a real problem. Not really, but that might make sense. Worrying about something that never even becomes an issue. And we do that a lot. Number 2, you ready? Many of the troubles we worry about are totally beyond our control. Will you agree with that? Can you affect a lot of the stuff you worry about? No. It is totally. If I were a farmer, I'd go crazy. Worrying about it ain't going to rain. And by the weather here lately, if it hadn't been for that hurricane coming through, there'd been a bunch of stuff die. We worry about stuff that is totally beyond our control. So if you can't affect it, what good does it do to worry about it? Doesn't. Here's the third one. Now we're looking at the troubles that worry us. Many never become reality. Many are totally beyond our control. Here's the best one. Many of those troubles are reality. God's already got it solved. Are y'all hearing me? God already has it solved. Bailey needed a job back, I guess it was 21. He tried the self-employment thing. It didn't work. If everybody can be self-employed and set their own schedule, everybody do that. Not everybody can do that. Very few can do that. He needed a job. And buddy, that had my attention. We're doing a prayer walk at the Capitol. Senators, representatives, we met that Tuesday morning. And we would walk around the Capitol and pray. Senators, representatives. Lynn Fitch, she even sent a representative. I'm walking around the Capitol, January of 21. I can tell you the main thing I was praying about. Bailey, a job. And I rounded the east end of the Capitol building, and I'm headed down the north side, headed west. And a lady sitting in her car rolled her window down and said, "Brother Kenny!" I turned, it was Rita Potts Parks. And she said, "Kenny, Caterpillar's hiring." She said, "I think I might can make a phone call." I get a thrill every time I walk by her parking spot. Are y'all hearing me? I was worried about that. God already had something figured out. You say, sound like Red Potts Parks had something figured out. Well, did you realize God uses people? I'm just telling you, many of the things we worry about. He went into Caterpillar with a day shift. That's a little unusual. I'm just saying, many things we worry about they never become reality. Well, this deep, he needed a job, okay? Many things that we worry about are totally beyond our control. Well, I can at least pray about it. But many things we worry about, he's already fixed it. We're down here worrying ourselves sick. And he's already got it fixed. Let me ask you something. Why is Hannah in the altar weeping and screaming and crying and taking on? Pretty bad, because what did Eli accuse her of? Say it louder, sister. Being drunk. Now, how many Baptists you ever seen a Baptist church get accused of being drunk? Not many. She's getting with it. Why? She wanted a what? Baby. She wanted a baby. Now, I'm not being rude or crude or anything else. All of y'all look like adults. If you hadn't had your birds and bees talk, I ain't going to do it tonight, okay? But when she gets up out of that altar and walks out at peace, is she pregnant? Yes or no? When she gets up out of that altar at peace and walks out of the tabernacle, is she pregnant or not? Yes or no? No. She ain't pregnant. There's only one virgin birth. Are y'all with me? God gave her peace on credit. Now, this may not bless you, but it blesses me. God can give you peace on credit. He can let you know something's solved even before it gets solved. I often pray that. Lord, please give me some peace on credit. Now, let's go to the other side. I'm trying to get you to understand. Don't be a worrywart. I am, but I'm working on it. Over here we're looking at the worry that troubles us. Don't be a worrywart. Number one, there's 3 over here, there's going to be 3 over here. Number one, the worry in many cases is worse than the trouble. You say, I don't know about that, Brother King. Now, I didn't say all. I didn't say in every situation the worry is worse than trouble. If you've got cancer, the worry is not worse than the trouble. But in so many cases, the worry is worse than the trouble. At the dentist, the shot lasts about 6 seconds. He squeezes out a little bit, moves it a little, squeezes out a little more, twists it a little more and squeezes out a little more, and then he pulls it out. And we will worry about that for 6 weeks. Some of you, I didn't say all of you, some of you get laughing gas before he sticks you. Now that's cheating. I'm telling you right now, that is cheating. The drilling. Unless your tooth is bad off, the drilling probably won't last over a couple of minutes. Doesn't last but about 2. And we will dread going to the dentist. We will put it off. We will delay it. I'm telling you, going to the dentist is not as bad as worrying about it. Go do it. Get it over with. How many of you have been audited by the IRS? Anybody in the room? I'm just the lucky one, right? 3 times. 3 times. I think part of it was the TV ministry, part of it was full-time evangelism, Brother Jeremy. Part of it was I used the loan for him because I had motel bills and I had meals and I had all that other stuff, mileage. 3 times. Can I assure you, unless you're a crook, getting audited by the IRS is not that big a deal. One of the 3 times they owed me money. I got all my papers together, went to the federal building in Tyler, Texas, sat down with them. They were nice. The only time they weren't nice was when my wife got killed in the car wreck in '82. My mileage book was in that car. And that agent basically said it was tough luck that my mileage book was in her car. I didn't think that was real nice. But still, it was okay. I'm just telling you, people dread the IRS. And dreading the IRS is worse than going and sitting down with them. Are you hearing me? The worry is worse than the trouble. Not every time, but some of the time. Number 2, y'all ready? The worry, Phil, see if you can figure this one out. The worry will make the trouble blank. The worry will make the trouble blank. The worry is worse than the trouble, and the worry will make the trouble worse. Thank you, my G-hogger. The worry will make the trouble worse. If you're having trouble making production on an assembly line and you're worried about it, is your production going to go up or down? Answer me. If you're worried about it, you're not sleeping and you're nervous about it and you're having trouble making, do they even do that in factories anymore? Do they? So if you're worried about making production and you're worried about it, will your production get better or worse? Most of the time it'll get worse. We're all familiar how worry will give you a what? Ulcer. Did you know they're now discovering that if you stay stressed out all the time, you're a higher risk of cancer? If you stay stressed out all the time, your immune system drops. And you're a higher risk for a malignancy. I'm telling you, worry makes. Let me do this on the assembly line. I got to mention this. I can't miss it. I Love Lucy. Do y'all remember when Lucy is in the candy factory? Any of you remember that one? If you hadn't seen this, you need to go Google it and you need to watch it. Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy. She is working on the assembly line and the candy is coming down the conveyor belt, and she's supposed to take the candy and box it up in the wrapping paper and everything and put the lid on it and set it aside. And then the next box, and I don't know if it was cordial cherries or what. I don't know what it was. And that conveyor belt just got faster and faster, and she was stuffing it down her blouse and in her pockets and under her arms, and if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. If you're worried about a test in school, you're worried about it. Will the worry make you do better or worse? I think most times the worry will make you do worse. Because if you're worried about passing, there's a good chance you won't pass. So, don't be a worrywart, because the worry, in many cases, is worse than the trouble. The worry makes the trouble worse. Here's the last one. The worry keeps you from doing something constructive. If you're worried about something, get up and do something. If you're worried about paying your bills, go get a part-time job. You say, I don't want a part-time job. Getting a part-time job on top of a 40-hour-a-week job is better than worrying about it. Do something. Now let me give you an example right quick. I'm in East Texas in the early 80s. Jacksonville, Texas. I moved Betty Ann away from her family, away from the job she loved at the Fulton Grammar School. I have moved her away from her friends. I have moved her and our little boy to East Texas for me to teach at the seminary, 1980. But because the seminary only paid $14,000 a year total, you had to have a church on the side. So Afton Grove had called me as pastor. I'm supposed to put in 35 hours a week at the seminary. There's papers to grade on top of that. So here I am in a new place. I bought a house that was finished, sort of. And that's a problem for me anyway. The yard was in terrible shape. I mean, they just went in there and built the house, and no landscaping, no smoothing up, no nothing. So are you with me? When I get up on Saturday morning, there are visits at Afton Grove that need to be made before the next day. I'm pastor. There are papers over in the corner of the den that need to be graded before Tuesday morning. And I've got a wife and a little boy, 3 years old, that I really need to do something with them because I've been busy 6 days. So needing to make church visits, needing to grade papers for the seminary, needing to spend time with my wife and my little boy, and do some stuff around the house, I just watch football all day. I think a lot of people are like that. Just lay there on the couch and watch football. You know what I did? And it worked pretty well. I chopped Saturday into 3 parts. And I gave a third to the church. I gave a third to my family. And I gave a third to the house and the yard. And I decided if 35 hours at the seminary wasn't good enough, it just wouldn't get done. And it was amazing how well that worked. A third to my family, a third to the church, and a third to the house and yard. Are you hearing me? When you sit around worrying, it preempts constructive, practical action. So, hang with me here. Don't be a worrywart. The troubles that worry us, many never become reality. Many are totally beyond my control. And many of them, God's already got Bailey a job. The worry that troubles us. The worry is worse than the trouble. The worry will make the trouble worse. The worry keeps you from doing something constructive. Don't be a worrywart. Now there's one more, number 7. Why worry when you can what? Why worry when you can pray? Why worry when you can pray? And if we would spend our time praying instead of worrying, It'd be amazing. Floyd, I told them this morning, I was talking about blessed are the hungry. I told them that the prayer meeting on Tuesday morning is the best prayer meeting I've ever been a part of. And I really haven't replaced that in the last 8 years. I'll plead guilty. I haven't also replaced Saturday morning to bowling alley. There's a lot of stuff I haven't replaced, running all over the state. It was unreal. The answers to prayers we saw on Tuesday morning, whether it was Trent Nethery, whether it was Philip Caples, whether it was Floyd Lamb, it was unreal. We would start praying about something, and Brother Philip would say, Judy needs a job. And it just didn't seem like it'd be a week or two. He'd come in there on Tuesday and say, Miss Judy's got a job. Are y'all hearing me? Why worry when you can pray? Can I tell you one more thing? You either start praying or he'll get you where you will start praying. Are y'all hearing me? We float along, everything's just going pretty good. Everything's just sort of rosy. And we sort of let some stuff start sliding. And I'm here to tell you, it don't take much to put you back praying. I know I may be picking on Bailey, but he's just a good example. God blessed, he got that job at Caterpillar. Man, God is good. And I'm in Jackson, and my phone rings one morning. And Becky is on the other end of the line crying her eyes out. And she says, Bailey has been in a terrible wreck at Burnsville. And Andy was in the car with him. And Kenny, that's all I know. I'm here to tell you, especially with my background, my experiences, you tend to be a little paranoid. And Floyd, I went for about 45 minutes. I just knew it was bad. Wasn't no fender bender. He should have died. If he had not been in that monster of a Cadillac car that I bought through David Curry. Really? That thing was a monster. You had to take the front bumper off, change the headlight. I'm not lying to you. It was a tank. That's probably what say. If he'd have been in some little cheap, flimsy Toyota or something, he wouldn't be here today. I'll tell you something. I was just sort of floating along. Everything's just, hey, okay, hunky dory. I'll tell you something. We can either get back praying, or God has a way. I got to tell you this and I'll quit. I'm preaching down at Temple Grove at Nettleton back about 2 months ago. And it's sad, but I'm just illustrating. And I taught at Temple Grove that Wednesday night. I get in my car down the other side of Nettleton. I'm the back side of nowhere. And Becky's phone call got through to me that something or somebody had died. And there wasn't enough cell phone service for me to understand her. And I had to drive for about 10 minutes to get to Nettleton to get enough cell phone service. And she didn't call me back, and I didn't get back to her. Bailey called me. And when Bailey called me, and I've been driving like a maniac for 10 minutes trying to get a tower. You ever done that? And Bailey said, Daddy, Austin's dog is dead. Kodiak. You say, that's a dog. I know. It's a dog, but I went 10 minutes knowing something or somebody had died and I didn't know who it was. That's my car telling me, Kenny, you're through. I've never had that happen before in 54 years. That's a new one, Jeremy. That my car tells me, Kenny, it is time to quit. Yeah, are you hearing what I'm saying? We can either get back praying or he'll get us praying. Does that make sense to you? We can either do it voluntarily or he will figure out a way. Y'all remember what I told you this morning? I don't cry much. He can get you where you'll cry. And I'm just saying, don't be a worrywart. Don't be a worrywart. Pray about it. Give it to him. Turn it over to him. And let him